This is the Extreme Channel. Today we are planning on reviewing Sideshow Gladiator Hulk Maquette. We may run into some issues because of UPS. Fuck you, UPS. Super excited to be the first one on YouTube to review Sideshow Gladiator Hulk Maquette. However, as you may have seen in the intro, thanks a lot to the awesome shipping company UPS that has had my Sideshow Gladiator Hulk Maquette 1.9 miles away from me for 3.5 days because they won't put it on the fucking truck and they won't let me fucking pick it up. We can't review this bitch tonight. Fortunately, I'm a half is glass full, glass is half full kind of guy. And we're going to do a little bit of magic. We are actually going to review something that shipped out after Gladiator Hulk Maquette, but got here first. And you know what? It might be a better piece. Ready for some damn fucking cool magic?
Arrive for Lieutenant Ripley.
It's here. You got Clemens.
Stop this raving at once.
I'm
Stop
telling you. It's here.
it. And get that foolish woman back to the infirmary.
So obviously this is not the Sideshow Gladiator Hulk Maquette, but I think it is possibly the next best thing, or it may be the best thing. Who knows when I'm going to get the Sideshow Gladiator Hulk Maquette? It's supposed to come on Monday. Today is Wednesday. It didn't come today because it's just sitting there. You can tell that really pisses me off. You know, if you work for UPS and you are an awesome employee and a great worker, I'm not talking about you. But I understand it's their busy time of the year, but the false information I get from them, how unfriendly and unhelpful they are, is just blowing my mind. And as you guys can imagine, I pay a shitload of money on shipping. I mean, it's pretty safe to assume that if Mr. X stopped getting statues, that UPS stock would fall in price. And I did say, do you know who I am? And then they started laughing and said, hey, Kurt, this guy doesn't even know who he is. But just frustrating. So my rant, I would say it's over, but I'm probably going to keep doing it. So let's get to this guy because he looks amazing. I think I've been waiting for 2 years for this. I think this may be a contender for Statue of the Year. And I'm going to do the whole thing with you. Not, that thing, but we're going to do it together. Well, man, so many references. We are going to unbox, assemble, and review this bitch together. So the review, we're going to use the extreme scale like we always do. If you haven't seen it, here it is. It's a 1 through 5 scale. T on the far left is a 1. It means trash. 3 in the middle is very nice. That's a good score. And 5X on the far right is extreme. All right, so let's get to this bitch. And I haven't even said what this bitch is yet, which hopefully you either can read or you had somebody read the title to you or you're using a visually impaired assistance program. But this is made by Prime One Studios in collaboration with Cool Props. It is a 1/3 scale Alien 3 dog maquette. Whole bunch of words there, and we're going to talk about what they all mean in the background info. Before we get started assembling it, you didn't get to see me take it out of the box, which is so sad because it was central. As I took each piece, here's the pictures. You have the cardboard shipper. You have the art box on the top. For those of you that love art boxes, I took pictures of all the sides. Here's another one. Looks so amazing. And then you missed out on the other side of the art box. And here is the foam. It was a dual layer foam package with tape and black silk on the first layer, with every part of the alien other than the stands and his head. His leg. And then on the bottom layer are the 2 stands and his head. So that was the central unboxing that you missed. I totally apologize because it was awesome in real life. But now let's do the assembly. Good old Prime One brings instructions as always. And if you've seen this channel before, we say instructions are like directions. The only people who use them are people who are what? People who like to save time. That's not us. So now we're going to jump in and assemble him. Interestingly enough, we're going to do the double camera here if you haven't seen that already. So I don't know which one to look at. So I'll try and keep that in mind and face towards you guys. So he has 2 keys here. or one's a key and a peg, and one's a peg on the bottom. So those can't go in separately, so you probably have to put the leg on first. That would make sense. Yep, there we go. Strong magnet, that's good. I'm betting the other leg will be the same. Since he's a dog, he actually has 4 legs. Well, kind of one arm, one leg. Ooh, that magnet's loose. It's big, but it's loose. That's what she said. It's big, but it's loose. All right, so let's give you guys a visual. Yep, that's how it's going to go. And this guy was delayed for years. Seems like it took forever. All right, we got him in, and he is not sitting flush. Oh, shit, what was that? So it's always great when you wait 2 years for a product, and then you have QC issues. Oh, man, that sucks. He is not flush at all. All right, I don't think I can get him flush. That's what I say at the toilet sometimes. All right, let's keep going. So next he has a tail, big sumbitch tail. And it looks like a peg and possibly a bunch of white shit all over it. I don't want to blow on it. I hate blowing. Shh. I didn't do it. All right, and I believe, I don't want to stand up because you guys know how I do these reviews. Is it like this? Oh, I think there's a magnet in there too. It is not like that. We're going to speed this up here for you guys during this downtime. Or maybe just cut to me getting the tail in. Okay, got the tail in. The problem is it has a peg and a magnet, and the magnet wants to pull on the peg. Plus, you had to stand up, and you didn't want to see my good stuff, so. All right, let's get his, I don't know what you would call this. Kind of like a scorpion. What do they call that on the end of a scorpion? All right, that is just a pin. And you have 2 different heads and a headstand, which obviously we're going to talk about. So this should go right in. All right. Good, strong magnet. And then we have his mouth within a mouth. Good, strong magnet there as well. And we have, there we have it. All right, let me adjust myself, not on the table, down there, and then we will do the review. All right, let's talk about the background info of this guy before we get into the actual review. But as I said before, this was made by a collaboration between Prime One Studios and Cool Props. Cool Props does a bunch of Alien Predator stuff, and Prime One Studios does everything. This is 1/3 scale, means he's 3 times smaller than what he would be in real life. And as you can see, this is a monster piece. And there's a lot of 1/3 aliens coming out. So right now, XM Studios has one. Here's a picture of that one right here. I have this on order. Very excited. It's obviously just the normal Xenomorph. I also have Prime One's 1/4 scale Scorpion alien. It's behind me. You can probably see the bottom. And at the end of this video, there will be a link to watch that review if you want. There's a couple other aliens coming out. Prime One just revealed a whole bunch of half-scale stuff. There's a ton of old Sideshow stuff out there. There's the cool thing about aliens, they come in every single scale. There's 1/4 scale, 1/3 scale, half scale, full scale bus. You have a huge plethora of choices. And this one has been long anticipated. They revealed this about 3 years ago, and the PO went up about 2 years ago, and it was delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed. And there's 2 different versions of these. One is the normal edition, or what we call the collector's edition. And the other one is what we call the deluxe version, which is what this guy is. Now, the differences between the two is they only made 800 of the deluxe, where they made 1,000 of the collectors. The deluxe also price tagged for $200 more. It price tagged for $1,699. That's what this one was. The collector's was much less. Now, there's two different portraits, which we're going to look at when it comes close to design. However, just for your information, the extra portrait is with the deluxe only. That is the difference. That's the $200 you're paying for. Now, I purchased him because I love Alien and Predators. Not only some of the movies, I don't love all the movies, but I love the creatures. I think the creatures from both Alien and Predator are just fantastic concepts, designs, execution. They're the thing nightmares are made of. There's so many different types of outer space movies where you encounter different types of aliens, from simplistic stuff like Star Trek and Star Wars to E.T., and this is the scariness that's out there. Alien 1, when it first came out in the 70s, in space, no one could hear you scream. That was a scary movie, and it was so simplistically done. Aliens, the second movie in the trilogy, not trilogy, I guess, quadrilogy, God knows how many they've made now, is actually one of my favorite movies of all time. This particular piece comes from the third movie, and we're going to talk about likeness and stuff when we get to the concept and design. But just as some background information, the aliens have a creature called a face hugger. Here's a picture of that. Here's actually a picture of this is one I have. It's a prop one. And they attach themselves to a host, and they lay an egg down its throat. Now, the traditional alien that you see, like the Scorpion alien, or or the XM Studios alien I showed earlier, comes when it gestates inside of a human being. This one came out of a dog. So it laid an egg inside the dog, so it was much different, and it's from the third Alien movie where the heroine, played by Sigourney Weaver, battled this on a prison colony on an abandoned, not really abandoned because there's a prison there, but on a planet. So she's with all criminals, male criminals, and they battle this, and I wasn't a huge fan of the movie. It has some cool aspects to it, but the alien dog is a fantastic piece of that movie, and I love it, so that's why I bought it. At the end, I'll show you some pictures. He's actually going where the loader is, and I'm moving the loader over here. And this is a temporary. Aliens are eventually going to go over there. I know you can't see over there, but trust me, that's where they're going. So let's jump into the concept of this piece. Actually, you know what? I always forget. Let's get dimensions. See how accurate they were with dimensions. As you see, this is a huge piece. That's what she said. So let's go between his legs. She said that too. And his widest point is probably about 26 inches. So that's if you're taking way over here to way over here. And his deepest point is actually probably, it's difficult because his tail makes him quite a bit deeper, is probably 21 inches or so. And his tallest point, which is also his tail, is 23 inches. So I can speculate. I actually wanted to keep him inside one of these cases. He would fit if I took off his tail, but he's pretty badass with his tail. I think that adds a lot to it. So let's jump into the concept of this piece. And when we talk about concept, we're going to grade it on the extreme scale like always. But whether it's movie accurate or not really doesn't fall into the concept. That's going to fall into the design of the piece. The concept is this badass looking overall? And on the bottom here, you have what's you're insinuating is the prison colony on the planet that the movie took place on. There's some rock, some piping. There's a grate, and you can't see it now, but you'll see it later on the grate. There's some melted grate from the blood of the creature because they have acidic blood. There's some candles in the back from one of the scenes, some wax candles. On the back, you have more of a concrete wall with more piping and tubing. Makes you really think of the prison colony. They stayed true to that. The alien dog is on all fours. That's kind of how it traveled, where a lot of the other aliens stood up on 2 feet. And this alien does stand up on 2 feet in the movie as well. He's there in attack mode. You can tell he's in attack mode not only because of his pose where he's lunging forward, but obviously with one of his switch outs, his mouth is open and his inner mouth is coming out, but his tail is ready to strike. It's I used it as a killing weapon. So very, very cool. I think as a standalone piece, that's how you kind of have to look at the concept. The alien dog, it's in a typical alien movie environment, because even like in Aliens 2, when they were on LV-420 or is it L420 or 42? And they were Alien 1, where they're on a spaceship. It's all very similar, so I think that works really well. The creature, the pose is perfect. I think they knocked that out of the park with the concept. Very menacing. And I give this concept, I give it an X. I think the concept is perfect. This is exactly what I'd want in the alien dog. Now let's talk about some things, not only how it went together, but how accurate is it to the movie? Are there any potential issues with it? So you guys saw it assembled. The magnets, most of them seem very strong. The arm that I put on, I believe it's this side, is a little loose, but I've been moving it back and forth, no issue. Let me show you a close-up of where it would not be flush. So down here, I cannot get that to go all the way down. That is definitely an issue, so that's going to take some off on the design. Another negative part, at least in my opinion of the design, is while the tail is a little bit larger than the base, so the tail is going to take up more room, they could have cut down this base. It's too big. This is taking up the space of 3 or 4 normal Sideshow premium formats. Granted, it costs 3 or 4 times more than Sideshow premium formats, but it's taking up too much space. I think that's a negative. The candles, and you'll see close-ups later, they don't really go with the story. I understand they're trying to recreate that scene. Is the dog accurate? Now here's the realism of it. I actually went back and stole some pictures to check if it's accurate. Here's one I found. There's not a lot of good pictures of just the alien because back in 1992 when this movie was made, the CGI was not awesome. It was not good at all. And this has a lot of different variations from the actual creature in the movie, but here's the thing, it's way better. This is way better looking than the alien in the movie, and I don't think you can fault them for improving it and making it better. So I think that's fantastically done. Another thing with the design, a lot of us speculated, is that they're having problems with the tail and that the tail was not going to be solid. They were going to use some type of PVC or rubber or something, which they did not do. They were able to get this and it fit perfect, which sometimes you have problems sticking things up the ass. I always have problems with it, but on statues, it can be an issue. So they nailed that, and I think that's good on the design. The other thing, if you buy the deluxe version, you have an additional switch out. So you get this head with the deluxe. Here's a close-up of it, where his mouth is semi-closed. And I really wish they would have put some drool on here, which we'll talk about in the paint and sculpt a little bit more. So I like that they gave it a not as vicious, but it's still vicious, but I think drool would have helped quite a bit. And then here is a picture with the open mouth. And this comes with all of the pieces. If this, in my opinion, if this was the deluxe portrait, it would have been a deluxe or bust. And it has 2 different inner mouth options. One, where the inner mouth is a little bit longer, as you see, as the one you've been looking at here, and it's open a little bit wider. And then you have another inner mouth where it's not as long and it's a little more closed. So you think that this one's either coming in or going out, where the other one is fully extended. And both of those inner mouths are offered on the $1,499 version. So in my opinion, this is by no means a deluxe or fail. Like, I have to get the exclusive, I have to get the better one. This is all you get for an extra $200. And I really went this way because this is a cool standalone piece just by itself. And it comes with the stand, which is a huge plus to the design as well. But if I was budget conscious and, spending $1,500, let alone $1,700, is huge on a piece, just going with the regular edition is absolutely fine too, in my opinion. So overall, some pros and cons in the design. The fact that it won't fit flush, the fact that it takes up so much real estate, the fact that they could have made the $200 deluxe a little bit better. The stand is nice. I think that takes away a lot of points from it. So I think even though the Alien is better than the movie, this gets a V, a 3 out of 5, a very good, very nice. It's a good thing, but the design they didn't perfect, especially when you consider all the delays that it had. It had I think over a year of delays. you should get everything perfect with that. And at the price tag especially. Let's dive into the paint and sculpt. And as always, we're going to talk about the paint and sculpt together from bottom to top. And we'll do both. And then we're going to rate them separately. And just kind of a spoiler, these are, unless I see something different than I have seen in the last 30 minutes, these are going to be a debate whether they are a 4 or a 5. These are amazing. And let's start with the stand and the deluxe portrait. So on the stand, this stand looks okay. It's not amazing. I think the paint colors are the right paint colors, but there should have been more texture in the base on the rocky parts. It's cool they have the Weyland symbol on the front. Very movie accurate. I don't know if his name or he owned the prison or anything, but it's just a tie to the movie franchise in general. The grates and tubes on it look good. Not amazing. Nothing you're going to, fawn over. But decent. Then let's move up the portrait. So he has the classic brown skin that the alien did, and it's these browns and blacks, and this paint is amazing. It's tied together. One of the coolest things they did with the paint, and I have to try and figure this out, is it amazing because it has that awesome gloss over it. That gloss really adds it or takes it to the next level, especially when you think about some older alien pieces. And this is a lot more glossy than the Scorpion alien I just got. Or maybe the gloss is more apparent because it's brown. But you have these mixes of different colors of browns and blacks. There's some stripes on what I call his shoulder pads. And then moving up to his face, again, awesome looking mouth. Not only the teeth inside. Aliens never had pointed teeth too much. Their canines were a little bit. But the appendages around their mouth, very Venom-like. If you've seen the character Venom, how they're kind of stretching. And they're layered on top of each other. Looks really, really cool, their jawline. And then I want to move back down his neck. You can almost see, I don't know if they have tracheas, what their anatomy is, but it looks like tracheas and parts of anatomy like you would see on the outside, or you see it on the inside of a human, but you see it outside here. The bust just looks awesome. But moving up to his clear dome head, this is what takes it to the next level. The traditional Geiger display and concept. You can see the inside, you see more bone, kind of his, what I would assume is his brain. And both portraits are like this. Let's move to the big ass base, starting at the sides of it. Just like the smaller head display, it looks okay. It's not amazing. There could have been more detail in the piping and the wires that they have running around it. You see some, couplers and some connections. The paint's very bland, but it should be to symbolize the movie accuracy. It looks alright, just running all over. You're not going to spend time looking at this, but again, they could have chopped off a lot of this base and saved room. The top of the base looks a little bit better. There's a little bit more gloss to make it pop. It's not the same gloss they used on the alien, but there's some purple colors added to the paint to really give it some contrast. I like the grate they have in the middle, and they have pebbles all over the top, which kind of insinuates a battle or a fight. Nothing's blown up or anything. It would have been cooler if they bashed the wall behind it, which we'll see in a second. But here's the acid. One thing I think that's a miss here is they should have added some gloss, or even maybe a little bit of green, because the alien blood is traditionally green. So I like that they added this as part of the design, but I think the paint and sculpt didn't add a ton to it. Here's the candles. The candles actually look really good. I don't think they're needed, but they look good. They look like real wax. They look like they were recently lit. Take a look at the back wall here. Again, a lot of the base, it's good. It just doesn't, scream, this is amazing. A little bit different color of browns in here. There's some switches and speakers and little doors, some lights. But let's move to the alien, and this is where the X happens, but with both the sculpt and the design. And I'm going to kind of jump all over here simply because it's hard to describe what you're looking at. And you can see his two front arms or paws or whatever you want to call them look, similar to hands, very gremlin-like hands. They're bony. They almost have 2 nails coming out of each end. And again, this high gloss is everywhere. And the paint colors I think they used were perfect. The different colors of browns mixing in with the blacks underneath the gloss. I like how bony it is. He has 4 fingers. As I said, 2 of them have 2 nails coming out of each one. And then let's look at his back paws or legs. Very, very different, and I like this. This is why he has to crawl on all 4s. This probably couldn't support his weight. They're very, very much, they're very, very small compared to the other ones. And the cool thing about the alien is you look through it, he kind of has these layers all over him of veins, and not tubes, but some type of anatomical tubes. And again, they just mix the tans and browns and everything so well. It looks like this calculated mess, I think is the best way to do it, where you see his bones and the skin coverings. And some parts of him are a lot more bland. So I like that, actually, like the front of the arms here. We'll call the top ones the arms. A little more bland, but still a lot of definition and muscle and anatomy throughout. And then on the backs, these kind of have these striations all over, which are going to be very similar to what we look at when we look at his rib cages. I want to go to his tail really quick. Classic alien tail, very segmented, that attack pose. The thing about this is, as I said, it's kind of a calculated mess below. This is not a mess. It's very calculated. Reminds me of a long rattlesnake, similar to that. And I love the stinger. We'll call it the stinger on the end. I like it a lot. They didn't use as much gloss on that, which I think adds to the statue. Looks like a shark fin mixed with a knife. Very, very cool. And it has a really light brown that you only see on the top of his skull. And some cool lines and striations in there as well. Let's look at his rib cage. This is where he looks awesome. Most aliens look awesome. It looks like their bones are on the outside and holding in a lot of guts and intestines and things like that. This almost has some green added to it if you look at it in the right lights. Very, very cool. And then as we look at his portrait here, we're really just going to focus around the mouth because that's the only thing different than the other portrait we looked at. But otherwise, everything else is not exactly the same, but it's very, very similar. So let's look at his mouth. Those appendages, kind of the venom-like appendages I talked about, are obviously being stretched farther apart because the mouth is wide open. They have some lighter browns on this mouth than they did on the other one. Teeth very similar. I like how dirty they are. I think the inner mouth is done okay. I think it's the only negative part of the actual alien statue when you look at paint and sculpt. It's a completely different color. It's more gray and black, kind of a light gray. I'm going to jump right in and give the paint a W. It's done really, really well, but as I said in the base, there's some minor tweaks that I would have made that I think would have taken the statue to the next level. So it's definitely a W, but I 100% give the sculpt an X for extreme. I think this is one of the best sculpts. It captures the alien perfectly. I am glad I waited a year. The base maybe downgraded a tiny, tiny bit, but X for sure, giving the statue an overall score of W. I think it's a rail. I don't think it's a grail. I do think it's the best alien statue out there right now. However, there's a lot of competitors coming out with some that may beat it. But let's show a picture of what he's going to look like in his new display right here. So, as usual, this is from the future. I don't know what this looks like. Hopefully it looks great. So to be honest with you guys, he definitely is amazing. He could be a contender for Statue of the Year. He's probably one of the top 5 pieces I've gotten all year. However, I'm a little underwhelmed because of the wait. The wait took so long, so that's a little frustrating. But he is an amazing piece, worth every penny. I really like him. If you're interested in checking him out versus some other alien pieces, go ahead and check out these reviews right here. Otherwise, let me know in the comments what your favorite alien movie is and why it's Aliens 2 and then our Aliens, the second installment. And lastly, which is your favorite alien statue, including everything. Bus, 4th scale, 3rd scale, half scale. What's the favorite one you've ever seen? I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. God willing, because apparently UPS is more powerful than God, we will do the Sideshow Gladiator Hulk Maquette review. Take care.